Hey everybody, thanks for joining SpringPath, the podcast. We have a great show lined up, lots to talk about, so let's get after it. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another episode of SpringPath, the podcast. I have a special guest today from Porter and Chester Institute, the president and CEO, Jim Bologa. What's up, buddy? How's it going?
I'm doing great, Mike. Glad to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really glad to have you on the show. You and I have caught up offline a few times, and the story behind Porter and Chester really, I think, will resonate with a lot of students and parents watching this episode. It's a technical institution. What would be the key differentiator when students sit down and they're talking with their parents, or they're looking at, hey, I'm about to graduate high school. I'm looking at going on a career path, but first I know I want to get an education, either a certification and or a 4-year degree. Why would students choose Porter and Chester as a technical institute as a path?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, I think for students, it's a very daunting task, right? You're 17, 18 years old. You're trying to make a life decision, a career decision, and for us, what we're really proud of is that the educational programs that we offer generally are somewhere between 40 weeks, 50 weeks, 60 weeks. So they're relatively short in length compared to a traditional 2-year or 4-year degree. And one of the things that I think resonates with our students is that if you're a visual, hands-on learner, that our education really sort of plays right into that, because again, students will spend about half of their time in lecture, traditional lecture, whether it's online or it potentially being in a physical classroom. And then they'll spend the remaining 50% in our industry modeled labs, practically applying the theory that they learn. And my advice, to parents and students, prospective students, is come check out our campuses, come check out our labs. I think you'll be really impressed. We, our faculty and our campus designers have taken great effort in designing learning environments that really model the real world. And so that's what I would encourage families and prospective students to do, is to come take a look, because what I often find in talking with some of our graduates and some of our current students is they didn't know about this as a viable option during high school, just because they didn't necessarily have somebody in one of these industries. And so again, they didn't have that sort of network, if you will, to familiarize themselves with it. And the great thing about, again, our programs is they're relatively short term. You come out with tangible skills, meaning that you can get a job, let's just call it after a year, and you can turn a wrench, you can bend conduit, you can give an injection, all these things that you have that employers are looking for right now. It's really very much in focus.
Yeah, and we were talking offline a little bit, but we were kind of hinting on as examples like electrician or nursing or different skill sets. But to your point, the investment that a student makes into the program is short term, but it is hands-on. You have the labs, you have the environments, and really it's meant to be a track that gets you right into the working environment that you're choosing. And so can you talk a little bit about the curriculum? I think you mentioned offline that some things were like state focused or state driven on some of them, but where you really provide a differential is in the beginning, helping the students select a path. And that's kind of a unique element to you and to your organization.
Yeah, no, I mean, during COVID, we started to pivot a lot of the application enrollment process online. And since we've been in COVID now for, going on 3 years, we have recognized that we need to have conversations with people, with prospective students. We're human. We crave social interaction. and so what we're doing now is we are actually having conversations with students, whereas in the past we allowed them to sort of make their own decision, providing them with just, I would say, static information.
Okay.
So the first thing is our admissions folks are going to end up reaching out to prospective students and their families, and asking some basic questions about career choice, and where you might want to go and what you want to do and why you'd want to do that. Once you determine your career path, you would then meet with our financial aid team, and they would help you and
Mhm.
your family figure out how to best afford, coming to school. And then once you get through that, then you'd start school. And in the first week, we are meeting with students. Our career services team members are meeting with students, already introducing the concept that you're here for 40 weeks, or you're here for 50 weeks, or you're here for 60 weeks, and at the end of that time, our goal is that you're going to graduate and you're going to become employed. So ideally you graduate on a Friday and you go to work on Monday, applying those practical skills that you've learned during your time with us. And along the way, our career service team members are super focused on helping students develop their resume, job interviewing skills, doing mock interviews, figuring out how to search for companies, identifying what companies they want to work for, what are the qualities, that in a company
Sure.
that they're looking for. So it's really a holistic approach, to the student from day one, where we're really, getting them integrated into this process. I mean, not only are they learning theory and the skills, in their specific career track, but they're also starting to learn those professional skills, that's going to help them, for the rest of their lives, in terms of navigating, the job and career markets that they're interested in.
Yeah, so that's great. So you hit on something that's really kind of near and dear to me, and why I started SpringPath and the series here is to help students. But most importantly for me is when you're a student and you're coming up and you're getting ready to make these decisions, one of the things that you may be faced with is, hey, I want to be an astronaut, but no one in my family is an astronaut. I don't know anyone. Who do I talk to?
Right.
So in your role and what you touched on here with your organization is, students who may not know an electrician in their family, but really are considering that as a profession, don't have to feel alone. They can actually come speak to one of your admissions counselors, and they'll help with the career path. They'll help set the expectation, but
Hmm.
also how do I pay for it? And then, when I go through the program, how do I get a job? And it sounds like you're there each step of the way, you know, helping the student.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we take great pride in helping every one of our students. I mean, I think every one of our team members is very committed, to what we do. Again, we're super excited about all the programs, the educational programs that we offer, and again, I think for a lot of folks, to your point, if you don't really know anybody in your family or in your friend network,
Mhm.
whose mom or dad is an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC tech or an automotive technician or a practical nurse or medical or dental assistant, or someone who may work
Sure.
in manufacturing as a CADS drafts person, or somebody who works in IT.
Yep.
So I think that my recommendation to everybody I talk to is, come check it out. I mean, you might be surprised, and it's a bit more rigorous than I think people realize. I mean, you take plumbing, or you take becoming a plumber or an electrician. I mean, there's things that you actually do in high school that actually are relevant, like things like geometry, things like algebra.
Sure.
There are many mathematical formulas that you need to really use in your everyday life, being a plumber or an HVAC tech or an auto tech, or electrician, even practical nurses, in terms of taking a look at different medication, and making sure you understand the math
Oh yeah.
around medicine and things like that. So again, I encourage every family to really take a hard look at this. And the other thing that I really feel great about with regards to the programs that we offer is, students are coming out with real skills, tangible skills that they can use day one on the job. And what I think the exciting thing is for those folks who are maybe a little bit more ambitious and want to start a business in 10 years. You think about that. Yeah, you'll have to probably go get some classes in accounting and marketing and human resources and management and job estimating and things like that. But this could lead to a path of becoming a business owner someday.
100%. That's actually, one of the key pieces I was gonna ask you about is with some of these certifications, these courses, and then let's use electrician as an example.
Yeah.
So you're going in, come to Porter and Chester, you check it out, you're getting hands-on training, you're getting a certificate. Now you go in and you're going to help them find that apprenticeship. They're gonna have to do their, so many hours that they have to do, which is required by the state. But after that, they're in a position now where they're going to become a business owner. They can go out on their own and they can really kind of stake their claim, go out. But there are elements to this that have to do with finding customers. You have marketing, you have to do your accounting. So you have to have your numbers locked in and dialed in. So talk to me a little bit about that, because we were talking offline about some of the ways you help at that level when a student gets to that point and they want to take it to the next level.
Yeah. So again, if you're an electrician or an HVAC tech, plumber, generally what happens is there's state requirements for licensure. So those state agencies basically set the standards, if you will, to become a licensed professional. We do have other programs, as you and I have talked about, that are generally nonprofit organizations that sponsor a certification, which is a little bit different than the licensure. And I just want to make sure we're, you and I and our viewers and listeners are clear on that. So again, with regards to becoming an electrician, let's just say in Connecticut, there's so many, there's 720 hours of related instruction. Think of it as classroom time. And then the balance of time you would spend, taking that theory and practically applying it in our industry modeled lab, so that when you do go out in the field, and your employer asks you to do a 90-degree bend on a piece of conduit, in a home, you can do that. And so to further your career. So let's just say that you're an electrician, you have 720 hours of related instruction, you get that from us. And then you need, 8,000 hours of on-the-job training under a licensed professional who then vouches for your on-the-job training hours. That then sets you up to take the licensing exam to become a licensed journeyman, if that's what you want to become. And then at that point, to your earlier comment, you're now a licensed professional, and the world opens up for you in terms of opportunity, further opportunity. And one of the things that we have done through one of our sister schools, if you will, YTI Career Institute, is we do have a business management program that we're basically trying to make a little bit shorter and make the content much more relevant to somebody who would be looking to start, a small business. So think of it as a beginning entrepreneur program where somebody would address, the issues of accounting, finding customers, marketing for customers, dealing with, your employees and managing your employees and managing your customers. And so again, we're got a program where students who, let's just say they're 10 years out, they might at that point decide, hey, I need to get some more education and get myself ready, because this is what I want to do. I want to own my own electrical contracting business, or my own plumbing business, or my own HVAC business.
And what's great about that, again, is now you're looking at, a shorter program. So essentially you're helping them with a short run program that's in the beginning, more or less financially palatable compared to some of the cost of education in post-secondary can be
Sure.
crazy.
Sure.
Then they're out, they're doing their thing. Now they decide, hey, I want to take this to the next level. I want to open my own business. They can come back to you for another short program, which gives the breadth of what's required. And then if they wanted to, they can, pursue it in more detail if they wanted. But you're basically helping them each step along the way to make it to each level that they're looking for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, we, in the greater Connecticut, Massachusetts markets, I mean, we've got, over 27,000 graduates who are at various stages of their careers. And, just a quick side note on a hockey story. I was with my daughter up in Vermont at a hockey tournament, and she had gotten some new teammates on her team. And we were out at dinner after one of the games, and I was sitting next to a gentleman, and sort of started a conversation with him. And I said, "Oh, what do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm an automotive technician, mechanic." I said,
Sure.
"Oh," I said, "That's great. Where is your shop?" And he told me where his shop was in Connecticut. And I said, "Oh, where'd you learn how to do that?" And he goes, "I don't know. You probably haven't heard this place. It's called Porter and Chester Institute." And I said, "Oh my gosh." I'm the president and CEO of that school. I said, how long ago did you graduate? And I won't embarrass him if he's listening, but it was a few years ago. So,
Yeah.
but it's interesting because I do bump into folks all the time. I, again, was at a car show and, bumped into somebody who graduated in the say the mid 80s in our computer aided drafting and design program. And now he's, has sort of moved his way up in an organization, and he's sort of like, his title was lead engineer. I'm not sure what is really entailed in that, but,
Sure.
obviously, taking our CAD program is not going to necessarily qualify you as you leave our school for an engineering position. But, he obviously, I think got some additional education as well along the way. But, he started small, started with us. He said it was the best decision he ever made.
Sure.
And it was
Yeah.
really very helpful, very foundational. And he mentioned to me he wasn't really ready to head into higher ed. And the way that he saw this was until he sort of really knew what he wanted to do. It's a great way for families to I'll say just explore it. I don't want to say
Sure.
it's an experiment, but it's 1 year, of your life versus, 2 or 3, 4 or something more.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, that's what he shared with me, is that he was able to get that foundational knowledge and tangible skills. And then from there, he built on it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's what's coming through loud and clear as I'm listening to you. Is it's obviously you have to be dedicated or committed. It is a year. There is a cost to it. You're looking at something, but once you do that, you now have a foundational standpoint where you can actually build upon that. You can get additional education if you wanted to. You can do your apprenticeship. You can start your own business and come back. So it just opens up more doors and more opportunity. Plus, you're building out your network, and that's where your career services will help.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Jim, can you tell us a little bit about the programs that Porter and Chester offers for our listeners?
Absolutely. So in the skilled trades area, we offer an automotive technology program. So again, if you want to become an automotive technician, that's certainly a great program to do. We did recently just start to incorporate electronic vehicle EV curriculum. We started in our Worcester, Massachusetts campus in that program,
Sure.
and are going to eventually move that where we have automotive programs throughout our campus network. And I'll share with your viewers as well our campus network in a minute. But again, we have automotive technology. We've got heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration, HVAC.
Sure.
We have electrical program, which again, you could work in industrial, commercial, or residential electrical work. We have a low voltage technology program. And again, those are the folks who might be dealing with security, home automation,
Okay.
any sort of building control systems, and the related connectivity to, I'll call it the Internet of Things.
Let me ask you
And
this: Do you bring your students into old homes and open up the walls? Because I think that would be great on the job experience. Because
yeah,
I
yeah,
used to renovate houses when I was younger, and you get some twists and turns when you when you start
yeah.
opening those walls.
Yeah, what we do is based on the area of where our campus might be, our physical campus might be. We generally try to get again our industry modeled labs to accommodate some of the building materials that you might encounter. So again,
Sure.
like in an HVAC environment or electrical or plumbing, for example, is another program that folks could look into. Yeah, we will try to find. Some of the building materials that they'll be exposed to and incorporate that into our actual labs.
That's
So
great.
yeah, so again on skilled trades, automotive technology, electrician, plumber, HVAC/R technician, low voltage technician. Also, most recently, we are offering a welding program in our Bridgeport campus.
Okay.
And again, we're super excited. We've gotten some support from some local employers, Hornblower and Bridgeport Boatworks. They've actually provided some scholarship money. So we're super excited about that program. And we are
Mhm.
going to look to extend that program to other campuses and we are working with some other very large employers who need welding expertise in Connecticut and Massachusetts. And then pivoting over to healthcare, again, we have medical assisting, dental assisting, practical nursing. And then lastly, on the IT side, we do have a computer and network technology a program. And I had previously mentioned our computer aided and drafting and design program as
Sure.
well. So we have folks who are, getting involved in 3D printing. And again, that program has really been very important to people who are building things and designing things. So whether it's on an architectural point of view or a mechanical, we do provide students with the real world training around software tools like SolidWorks. So those are our 12 programs that we offer. And
Sure.
we do have campuses in Connecticut. We
Yeah, I
have
was going to ask regionally, where are you located?
yeah, we have six campuses in Connecticut. So we have a campus in Enfield, we have a campus in Rocky Hill, a campus in New London, a campus in Hamden,
Mhm.
a campus in Waterbury, and a campus in Bridgeport. And in
Okay.
Massachusetts, we have a campus in Chicopee, Worcester, Mass, and Brockton, Mass.
Okay.
So again, we try to cover all of the major metropolitan areas or cities
Mhm.
in Connecticut and Massachusetts, so that we can be very accessible to our students. And and lastly, we are offering these programs either in a hybrid format, which means again lecture online with a faculty member. Students will have to do some work on their own every day, so they get time of day flexibility. They
Mhm.
then come to our lab a couple times a week to then take that theory and practically apply it in the lab setting. We
Sure.
do have some programs that are completely online. So our CAD program and our computer network technology program has moved online.
Okay.
Um, and lastly, we do have some programs that are delivered 100% on ground. So that's a program where students would show up for a physical classroom. They have to be there at a certain time. Attendance is very important to us. And then they would do their lab work as well with us. And Mike, I would like to maybe make a quick mention about another school that we do have in terms of some of the unique programs that we have that I think the viewers and listeners might be interested in.
Sure.
One of those programs is medical billing and coding and health information management. Also, we have a program around veterinary technician and respiratory technician. So again, if there's any animal lovers out there,
Yeah.
we do have a program to help them become a veterinary nurse. And if anybody's interested in helping people breathe, especially given where we're at in COVID,
Sure.
respiratory technician or respiratory therapist is another very viable career. then lastly, we all love to eat, I think, and we do have a, culinary and restaurant management and a pastry arts program as well through our sister affiliated school called YTI Career Institute.
That's fantastic. And are those where are those located regionally? Are they?
So we do have three schools, three physical schools in Pennsylvania. One school is in Altoona, Pennsylvania, about 20 minutes south of Penn State University. That program is delivered in a hybrid online manner, meaning
Okay.
that students would do their lecture piece online, and then they would do their clinical experience where they live. So,
Oh,
let's just
okay.
say that a student lives in uh, Maryland or Massachusetts. That student would basically log on every day, go through, do their work, interact with their instructor, and then when it came time for them to do clinical, they would we would work with them, and they would look to find a clinical experience locally. So if someone lived
Oh,
in,
okay.
let's just say, Springfield, Mass, we would look to find a hospital where they could go in and do respiratory therapy, clinical work with that hospital. Similarly, same thing with veterinary technician program, same sort of concept. So
Sure.
again, let's just say you lived in Worcester, Mass. You were interested in doing this online hybrid program. Same sort of concept in terms of delivery. You would attend classes online. You'd have access to the instructor. You'd go through your coursework, and then when it came time to do your clinical work, you would partner with a local veterinary hospital or clinic, and you would go in there and do your work there. So again, we're super excited about those programs, and really for us, with COVID, we've tried to make education much more flexible for all of us, given all the different constraints that we have between our family lives, our work lives, and
Sure.
obviously constantly trying to help ourselves get a little bit better.
Sure. Work-life balance, 100%. And it's great to hear about a hybrid program like that, so where geography is not really a restriction in any way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, one of the things that we've heard from students is that they appreciate, in these programs, the time of day flexibility. So think about things like where you used to have to be at a class at, say, 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And let's just say that you may be, you may have family commitments, or you may have something happen where you have to help out a family member. And that sort of then, impedes your ability to get to class, let's just say at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
What you can now do is you can, do what you need to do for your family or for yourself. And then, knowing that, at 12 noon, you've got time from 12 noon to, say, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you can do all your work then. And you can sort of break it up in different parts of your day and really fit it in every day. And again, I think we are finding students who are really appreciating the fact that they have that time of day flexibility with these hybrid programs, and they do all truly. Every student loves coming to our labs. I mean, that's
Yeah.
we've taken great pride in, and I really think we have some of the best labs around. We work with our program advisory committee members, and really have developed some really nice industry modeled labs. So I'd encourage everybody, check out our website. We have pictures up there, but more importantly, come take a tour of our campus. I think you'd be pretty impressed.
Yep. And so, Jim, this has been awesome. This has been extremely informative. You highlighted each of the elements for the programs, and you talk about how you help students in the beginning. They can go experience, then come back, get more teachings and more education to really up their game or take it to the next level as a professional. And I guess what I would ask right now is, where would you like people to go to learn more or to reach out to you to get more information?
Yeah, I mean, the best place to start is porterchester.edu. That's our website. And there's a lot of information on that website. Again, if you are interested, you can always also, right on that website, you can apply there, and someone will reach out to you. So again, we've put a lot of information out there for prospective students and their families to take a look at. And again, I'd encourage you to you go to the website porterchester.edu. There's a ton of information out there, and complete an application, enroll right there, and we'll reach out to you and start a conversation.
That's fantastic. Jim, thank you so much for being on the show. And for all our listeners, check out porterchester.edu to see if Porter and Chester is a match for you. All right. Thank you, Jim.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. It was great.